We have arrived in the Netherlands. Hello and welcome, everybody. It is time for the Division 1 Championship here at ISRL Esports, and we have arrived to the Dutch Grand Prix. It is Circuit Zandvoort, and it is going to be a good one here. Just getting ready to jump into our full qualifying session. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us for what is going to be a fantastic Dutch Grand Prix. I'm your host here for the evening, Fallen Monkeys, joined in the commentaries booth by Ephraim, back at it again for another exciting racing action. Now, Ephraim, as I always like to do, how you doing today? Excited for the racing action we're going to have going on here around Zandvoort?
Definitely, if it's going to offer the same that Division 2 offered, we're going to have an exciting race in our hands, and I think it's going to be also exciting to see some new drivers coming in Division 1 as well.
Yeah, and funny, not funny, interesting that you mentioned that there. First driver I'm seeing on my timing table, Always Rick, riding in the McLaren. Now, Always Rick is a driver, those who tune into the Division 3 race know a lot of Always Rick, permanent driver in Division 3, showing off his skills here in Division 1, and I do believe this is his debut in Division 1 for the in this McLaren team. So we'll see what his pace is going to look like. We'll see how he can perform here in here at the best of the best, the top of the top here in Division 1. Of course, some returning faces as well. Ariel Wouter, Sweet Crown 19, leading the way, leading the charge here in Q1. Definitely returning face here, battling for the lead of the championship. Now, as we're going through into Q1, Ephraim, I'm going to put this question to you. Having just raced here in Zandvoort, what were your, here in Div 2 and leading into the race in Q1, what were your takeaways? What are some things we should be looking out for here as far as the track is concerned, maybe the drivers, or just anything at all that we should be keeping an eye out for?
So starting from the first thing, you need to have the best setup possible, because there's a lot of fast corners over here that if you don't have the best balance, I think it will be not you're not going to do an appropriate lap, and it's not going to be very good for these drivers. In fact, it happened to me as well. I was qualifying, I was doing a second. I think second less than my race pace, so it's not good, definitely. But these drivers, they need to be really aware that the track position is really key in this race. So basically, they need to do their best in the qualifying, because if you end up in traffic in the first few laps, you will end up losing a lot of time. And there's not a lot of overtaking opportunities over here. You don't need to risk your wing, or you don't need to risk your race, because it can easily turn against you, and also you can have a penalty. So these drivers, they need to be really giving it what they're all, and also not hoping for a safety car to come. So they need to take out their best strategy as well.
Oh, definitely. And just when you're mentioning the strategy here, I would expect to see probably, I would think, a one-stop soft to hards, or some drivers trying that alternate hard to soft strategy. I have seen so far today some drivers opting for that two-stop, a soft, medium to soft. But personally, I do think the one-stop, the soft to hards, is going to be much quicker. Now, Ephraim, you also mentioned track position as definitely something to keep an eye out for. Zandvoort, if I ride on board with a driver, well, maybe not VR, as he's not in the best possible position. But here, I guess we'll stick with your own Vasseur, as he's on an outlap right now. But you can see on the screen, it's a very tight track. It is, it's not a street circuit, but it feels tight like a street circuit here around Zandvoort. Not much move other than, or not much room, I should say, to get some overtakes done other than down the two DRS straights. So track position is going to be key. And for drivers like, for example, Demorts, who's very quickly out of qualifying in this early stages, as well as Chapelelli, who is serving a qualifying ban for retiring early on circuit last weekend, they're going to be at a prime disadvantage going into the race, having to start from the back of the grid here in 16th and 17th respectively. So for a lot of drivers here in Q1, given these two DNFs, now that I'm realizing it, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think essentially it's a free qualifying, or it's a free session for everybody who's still in the session right now. 17 runners, 2 that are already out, and if the top 15 make it through, I think every driver here so far that's running is going to make it through into Q2.
Yes, definitely. But I think the game sometimes trick us a little bit, so we expect everything to happen. So these drivers, it's better for them to make a good lap also, so they can be safe. But
Oh yeah.
I'm very interested to see also always Rick from Division 4, Division 3, what he can do in Division 1. You told me that in Division 3 he was on the podium, yeah?
I believe so. He was near the top last I saw. Let me see if I can go find those race results. Get that Division 3 podium figured out. It's a little bit of a distance. I did not have the or he came on pole. That's what it was. I knew it was at the top of the leaderboards. But it was a top of the leaderboard on qualifying. So always Rick. A little bit of a correction. I don't think he came on the podium, as I did see a message that I think there might have been a little bit of a race gaffe that caused him to miss out, but was very fast here around Zandvoort. Was always Rick, nonetheless, as he did qualify on pole. But right now in Q1, sitting with a near 110 flat. And I do think that pace might need to pick up here between now and at least the end of qualifying. But I'm seeing always Rick on 3-lap-old soft tires, so I think he might just be running this a bit more as a practice session rather than a true qualifying one. Maybe just getting a few extra laps in, knowing that as long as he keeps the car clean, he should be safe to make it through into qualifying too. Now, is this a strategy you might be considering in this situation, or would you just go about your normal qualifying business, knowing that you're clear making it through into Q2, assuming the game doesn't play a couple tricks with us?
I think also you need to use at least one tire, and you stay with the same tire, so you will not have to use 2 tires in the first qualifying session.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of where my strategy was going to go about it. A lot of time, if I was caught in this situation, I'd probably use it as a practice session, but just run some laps, get accustomed to the grip, get accustomed to the track, but really only use one set of tires, kind of like what Always Rick was doing. Just use one set, and that way I know I'm just getting rid of one set of tires rather than risk trying to figure out which one of the 2 sets I want to get rid of. But at least here, looking at the timing tables, the top 5, they're comfortable with their lap times. It's Izat Kush heading the way with a 108.4, and I do expect these times to get quicker as qualifying moves around. Feral Fury coming across the line now. He goes up into P10. It's a 109.7. And who was that behind? I think that was Andon right behind. Or no, that wasn't Andon. That was Ryder Dahl, who went much faster. So 108.3 for his lap in the Racing Point. So Ryder Dahl showing a lot of pace here in Q1. Andon, he just crossed the line there. He goes 7th fastest, so 109.1. So it looks as though very quickly here, what we can expect in Q2 is probably lots of times breaking into the low 109s, and realistically, I would not be surprised to see a lot of times breaking that 108 marker, maybe a 108.9, 108.8. Knight coming around with a 109.7 should be quick enough to make it through into Q2, but I think he's going to have to try to find a lot more pace if he wants to possibly see a Q3 appearance for that Red Bull.
Definitely, and also that was a very good lap by Ryder Dahl. I think Racing Point, they have a very good strategy in this race as well. I see also that Jamie 1 is on the medium tires and he just picked it with those medium tires. So maybe he's going to take a shot on the soft tire, but as you said, he's safe, so they don't need to get any other qualifying lap on the soft tire. So we will see what Jamie will decide.
Yeah, I'll have to see what he decides to do. Maybe going out on those medium tires, being aware that he'll make it through, and that way, as far as the tires are concerned, those medium tires might be the tire they get rid of, so he can essentially keep an extra set of soft tires through into Q2, into Q3 perhaps, and allow himself that extra run when the times actually do matter. But we're still seeing some drivers looking to improve. Always Rick out on an outlap. Netski currently on an outlap right now, but Netski doesn't have a time on the board, so he's looking to put something up. Ryder Dahl's 108.3 is still the best time so far, and there you go. I think this answers our question as far as Jamie's
Everyone is
concerned.
retiring.
Yep, everyone
Everyone
who
is retiring.
yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, really, quite literally, everybody's retiring now, realizing that they're going to make it through. But I think Netski and Always Rick want to get one more lap in here out of Q1. Netski, I'm not surprised, as he wants to get a time on the board so he can solidify his position in the top 15. Always Rick, though, it's a little interesting that he's coming out on an outlap right now on a fresh set of softs, as he'll be making it through into Q2 regardless, but maybe going out on a banker lap, setting up those, getting those tires set up. No, he's going for an actual lap here. Is Always Rick. So we'll see if Always
Using
Rick
the
can
second
improve.
tires.
Yeah, and that is it's a fresh set of tires for him for Always Rick. So a bit of a questionable decision, I would think, from the McLaren, as I'm not too sure why he's looking to use up that second set of soft tires here in Q1. But Netski across a line just now, and he goes second fastest. It's a 108.4, so Netski showing a lot of pace here in that Renault, so he could be somebody very much so to look out for as this qualifying session plays out, and of course to the race, and maybe see Netski challenge for another pole position here around Zandvoort. But Always Rick going to nearly 3/10 faster in Sector 2 as he's coming around the last few corners now in Sector 3. Just has the banking to taking an inside line, can maybe take it a little bit tighter, but coming across the final corner through the line, he does go faster, puts himself into P13 ahead of Knight. It's a 109.76 or 776 for Always Rick. But here I'm seeing it's very curious how other drivers are looking to come out and set at least one more lap to solidify their position. I'll be honest, I thought a lot of drivers, I thought everyone was just going to retire and then we'd move on to qualifying too.
Yeah, in fact, I think didn't even notice. One of them is Always Rick, but Knight I think is going to retire soon, and also Jerome Visser. I don't know why he went out also again. So maybe it's a little bit tricky for them that they didn't realize that it's only 17 people, and also two of them they have the qualifying ban. So we will see what's going to happen now. These guys are using an extra set of tire that they have right now.
But your own Visser, I think he is on an older set that's already done a lap. So possibly, I mean, I'm just kind of speculating here in some possible strategies. Could just be trying to make sure that those soft tires are the one that the in-game marshals, the game is going to get rid of, so he doesn't end up losing a better pair going into Q2. But possibly looking to improve his time. Maybe just not feeling comfortable with the time he had on the board, that 109.2, looking to solidify that here. But either way, we'll watch your own Visser as he's coming around on his flying lap here on what could possibly be the final lap of qualifying one, and that's an invalidation from your own Visser. through into Sector 2, going a little bit too wide after the right-hander at the end of Sector 1, and that is a red track map. That is going to be an invalidated lap for your own Vasseur, and now we'll see if he goes around one last time or if he chooses to dive into the pits. And maybe we can call an early end to Q1 and move on to qualifying 2 when the times actually start to matter a little bit more. So there we go, your own Vasseur diving into the pits. And 4 drivers remaining, as down to 3 now, as Netski, VR46 Yarno, always Rick, the 3 in the pits. We'll see if they're going to opt to go out again, or if they're going to realize that they are going to make it through into the top 15 and retire out of Q1 so we can move on to Q2. Alternatively, we've got a long 3 minutes to wait here for the end of Q1 here. But it's going to be exciting here, I think. Ryder Dahl heading the timing tables, so 108.3. Netski with a 108.404. So at least the top 3 in Q1 separated by less than a tenth of a second, it looks like here. So it's looking to be very close here at the end of Q1, heading into Q2.
I think also now we need to see the real pace of these guys in the second qualifying, because a lot of them, probably they're frustrated that they didn't make any retirements, you know, because if I was them, definitely I would have retired in the beginning. So right now we're waiting for Netski and Jarno to retire. I don't know why Netski is going again.
Yeah, I was about to say, crucially,
Netski is going out again.
He wants to have one more lap, wants to be the star of the show, I guess, here in Q1.
But he's using the same tires, no?
Looks like it, and he's I mean, he's the last remaining driver as VR. He retires out, so here we go. Netski, he's on that same set of tires he had before, coming out on an out lap. I'm not too sure what the decision is. Unless Netski just, like I said, maybe wants to be the star of the show in qualifying 1, wants to make sure everybody can get a good look at what he can do. But it might have been a bit more advantageous to retire out, keep that possible pace in the back pocket, and whip it out in Q2, Q3 when the times actually matter. But we'll see what's going through Netski's mind. Do you think he goes and sets another lap, or do you think he's going to dive into the pits here after this out lap?
Maybe if he's listening to us right now, he will understand that he's the last guy and he doesn't need to do any other lap. But right now, Netski is on the same tires that he had before, so maybe he's gonna do the lap. So we will see. But let's also go through the lap times that we have right now. Definitely, I think we're gonna see a better lap from Ferry and also from Knight. Always Rick. It was a good lap for him to be in the 13th position. In fact, improving almost around 5 tenths. And definitely something else we need to mention is that Chapelele is going to be on a big disadvantage over here, because if the other guys don't let him through as easy as that, he needs to fight for that position.
Oh yeah, and for Chapelele, I do think there is going to be a lot of battling here for him. Nobody here, especially in Division 1, nobody's in easy position to overtake. So I do think Chapelele, starting from the back, is going to have his work cut out for him. And yeah, Netski did have a fastest sector, so he's looking to be on an absolute flyer of a lap, going at 8/100ths faster than his previous time. So might be looking to snag that provisional P1 from Ryder Dahl here at the end of Q1 here to maybe just solidify his qualifying performance, his qualifying showing. But nope, about that, completely abandons the lap and crawls across the line, keeping that pace, trying to keep that true pace hidden. But we saw the purple sectors there, so definitely Netski a driver to keep an eye on as we move into Q2 But for the timing tables at the end of Q1, Ryder Dahl heading the way in the Racing Point, Netsky in second, Izat Kush in third, Josh 2 fourth, Ferg rounding out the top 5, with Wouter in 6th, Sophion in 7th, and in 8th, VR46 Yarno in 9th, and your own Visser rounding out the top 10, with Eklund, Feral Fury, Always Rick, Knight, and Jamie 1 rounding out the top 15. Demorts and Shepalili are the 2 drivers knocked out of Q1 with no time on the board, and they will be sitting from the sidelines here through Q2 and Q3, starting in 16th and 17th respectively. But Q1 is behind us. We are moving on to Q2, qualifying 2 now, and this is where the times are going to start to matter, and this is where we're going to start seeing a little bit of strategy come into play. Maybe not so much there here at Zandvoort, if I'm going to be honest, given that, like I was saying in Q1, I think the soft to hards is probably the ideal strategy. So as much as I'm seeing drivers maybe trying to put on these medium tires now, do you think we'll see a driver maybe trying to qualify, make it through into the top 10 on those medium tires and get that tire advantage? Or do you think everybody is just going to be going for the softs?
There's not much of a tire advantage here with the mediums. Soft, you can easily do 12 laps with them and then go for a hard. Don't forget that the rate of a safety car over here is around 70 to 30. So we probably will have a safety car. So I think it's very important for these drivers to focus on the strategy, as the hard tires will definitely do around 20 laps over here as well. So we need to be really aware of the tire wear that they're going to have in the first few laps, and not to make more than 1 lap on the soft tire that they're going to start the race with. Of course, we're talking about the top 10 fastest drivers in the Q2.
Yeah, so the top 10, if they do put on the softs, they're going to have to make sure they do it on a fresh set, only 1 lap old, because I do remember the strategy indicating you can pit on lap 11 and take the hards to the end, which is the strategy that I myself ran in Division 3. But of course, I kind of felt that near the end of that stint, as much as I could go lap 11, I was starting to really feel the wear. Jeff wanted me to go up to lap 13 on those soft tires, but after 11 laps, they're already near 50% wear, and I was not ready to struggle on those tires when I had a fresh set of hards waiting for me in the pit lane. So I did put those on. So the hards, based on that strategy, could go from lap 11 all the way to 36, so that would be a long way, but it does involve a lot of tire management, I think, possibly with that one stop. But of course, drivers here in Division 1 can definitely handle that tire management. They've shown time and time again that they can pull off the near impossible strategies. So I would not be surprised to see most of these drivers near the end probably putting on the soft tires and looking for that quicker lap. I've been watching Andon as he's been on his first lap. He's looking to set it on the medium tires here, get an idea of his pace. But I'll be honest, from what I could see, it hasn't necessarily looked like the cleanest lap for Andon here this time around. A lot of tank slappers as he's coming out of the exit of the corners, so I don't think this is going to be the quickest lap for him. But he comes across the line. It's a 109.8 on the medium tires, so still pulls out a decent lap time. But given the times we saw in Q1, I don't think that is going to be anywhere quick enough to make it through into the top 10.
Always Rick is going to have a good lap as well, but unfortunately at the end he lost a lot of power because he used all his ERS. In fact, this is also tricky because in the last part, from the last corner till the finish line, sometimes you will not have any more ERS, so you need to start using that hot lap exactly as you cross the finish line, else you will end up without any ERS in the last corners. But let's all ask the same question, and I think you agree with me, Fallen Monkeys, because we saw that Netsky was doing purple sectors and he was really up on his time. Can we really go and do a 1.7 over here? We will see, huh?
Honestly, I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I think we do see a 107, and the reason I'm saying that is that here in Q2 alone, you're already seeing Izat Kush setting a 108.279, so a sub 108.3, and I do think these times are only gonna get faster and faster. As right now it's a 108.2 and a 108.5 that are the two times on the medium tires at the top of the leaderboards. And I think once the likes of Netsky, maybe even Ryder Dahl, once they set their times, especially on the soft tires, assuming they do it either here in Q2 or maybe even as they into Q3, I'm going to make a bold prediction. I do think we see at least one time in the 107s here before this qualifying session is over.
I think also for the it's going to be also a tricky situation for Neski because he's on a medium tire. He knows that he's fast, and definitely I think the only two guys that have a chance to be on those mediums at the end of the qualifying, it will be Netsky, and I believe we will see maybe Josh. I think Josh is on a medium. Very
Yes.
good lap by Josh. 108.9 on those mediums. So on the softs, he can take it to 1/7 for sure.
Oh, definitely. And already, that's if he chooses to. That the 108.9 on the medium tires, definitely a good lap. It puts him up into, it puts Josh up into third, and the fastest runner of all the medium tire runners. Now, I do expect these times to fall as we're seeing more drivers out on their flying laps. Ferg, who's about to cross the line to finish his, he only goes a 112.5, so I think he's going to go much quicker this time around, as now he's got his ZRS back up and running. Knight just crossed the line. He goes 6th fastest, so 109.5, and that's on the soft tires as well. And who was that who just crossed the line? Was that that was Sophion with a near 109 flat on the on a set of 2-lap-old soft tires, so a little bit more in the tank for Sophion, I would think, given if he puts on that fresh set of tires. Jamie, and he's on a lap right now, but I want to stick with Ryder Dahl, or here, let's stick with Netsky actually, as he's on a medium tire flying lap right now, a little bit further ahead of Ryder Dahl, but they are the two remaining medium tire runners who are on a lap right now. And possibly, you said it and I'll agree as well, with Netsky maybe being able to pull off a solid lap on those mediums. But
another purple sector for Netsky.
Yeah, so he's absolutely flying here. But I don't want to take anything away from Ryder Dahl either, as he did go fastest in Q1. It would have been Netsky if he didn't abandon the lap, but it's still something to be said about the pace Ryder Dahl has in that racing point. But they're two right behind another here on their qualifying lap. So we'll see first and foremost what's the lap time going to be for Netsky as he's coming around the final corner now on those medium tires heading towards the line. He goes 4th fastest. Ryder Dahl right behind goes 4th fastest. They're essentially on very similar lap times on the medium tires. It's a 108.896 for Ryder Dahl. Netsky had a 108.938, which Netsky just went a little bit faster than the 108.943 set from Josh 2 much earlier here in the session. But it's still Isaac Kush from Ferg and Wouter who are the top 3, and they're all on those soft tires.
Let's do a lap with Always Rick, maybe, because he's going to start his lap soon. Or maybe Jerome Vizer. Jerome Vizer just got out of the pits.
See, I jumped on board with Always Rick.
Yeah, in fact, right now he's going to turn 1. Turn 1, you need to be really well balanced. Also in traction, because a lot of spins over there. Turn 2, turn 3, it's a little bit also cautious for braking. If you have the guy in front of you, which is less than a second, definitely you need to be really aware. Here is the point where you don't need to use any ERS because you're going to be fast, but this fast corner over here, a lot of mistakes from Division 4 and 3 and 2 drivers, so probably we will see what these guys will do. But I think here Always Rick aborted his lap now.
Yeah, you saw that. I mean, almost practically right when you said lots of mistakes from drivers. Always Rick, I think, wanted to make a little demonstration, having a big moment, clipping that curb. He kept the car under control, but I think that was the end of his lap right then and there when he had the moment. And I think he's either going to dive into the pits or try again here on those medium tires. We'll take a look. I've switched over to your own Visser.
Oh, Yerno, he just spin. He just spin in turn, I think it's turn 9. But
I believe
definitely,
so.
if you touch the curb, over there, you're gonna spin. You don't have any way of saving that car because it's really tricky how to take that turn. If you take it well, you will gain a lot of time from the qualifying. Right now, we're seeing a tricky situation for these drivers as they might change their tires because right now it's already 1 lap old, but it seems like Jarno is not going to change at all and he's going for another hot lap. So let's do it together with him. Maybe he can be the top 10 fastest guy around this track. First turn, up on the 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear, shift over here. You need to brake up again, touch a little bit of curb, have a little bit of balance. Very good balance by Jarno as well. This is the moment where you need to be really aware of these fast corners over here, because if you touch a little bit the curb as well, you will spin. But it seems that he's doing a very good lap. And fastest sector also for Jarno, as shown on the map. But right now also Jarno is doing a very good lap without any spin at all. Very good turn. Here, this is the first DRS in this lap. And also here we're doing a very good turn without touching the curb. I think Jarno is definitely going to be in the top 10. As it's shown, he's doing a very good lap. Lewis say finish line, and he does a 108.9. So that puts him in the 7th position. Very good lap by Jarno.
Yeah, very solid lap indeed. He was on pace for a 109.2 after Sector 2, but then found out that much more time through in Sector 3. Very solid lap all throughout, and that puts him into a top 10. But we still have about 3 minutes to go in qualifying too. And this cutoff currently occupied by Eklund right now in the Renault on your screen in P10. This is subject to change. I think I would not be surprised to see lots of drivers head back out on track, try to get their final laps in within the next 30 seconds to a minute here. Eklund, he solidifies his position now, going 4th fast. This is a 108.7, and that is on the soft tires. So another driver to opt to put on these soft tires for their final lap. And it looks as though, if I look at the best time so far in the top 10, it's only Ryder Dahl, Netsky, and Josh 2 as the 3 drivers remaining. But very quickly now, as that was the Jamian who crossed the line, Josh 2, he gets knocked out of top 10, and that brings the VR46 Jarno on the outside looking in, or on the inside looking, I should say, on that bubble in P10, with drivers heading out on their out laps. Josh T, you can see hitting the track. Your own Visser is hitting the track. Still no sign from Netsky. Oh no, now Netsky's coming out on track, and you can see both Racing Points heading out as well. I think VR46 Jarno might be the only one who might be remaining in the pits for the moment, as he had just came in. I don't know if I don't think he's gonna have enough time to get back out on track and get one last lap set.
No, he don't have time, and in fact right now we're seeing the last car of Always Rick getting out of the pits. Maybe he's a little bit late also because it's already 1:23, so he needs to do this out lap as a hot lap, else he doesn't need to lose around 10 seconds. He will not manage to do another time. So right now the situation is that the medium tires of Ryder Dahl and Netsky are not safe enough for them to keep that position. But I think both of them, they're using the medium tires that they had already one lap on it, so maybe this is not going to help them as well in the race, because they have a little bit more tire wear, and if you start with the soft, it's going to be the same situation. Around 12 laps for the soft guys, around 15 laps for the medium guys. But also, it's going to be an advantage for those who are not going to finish top 10 if they're going to use the medium.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a gamble indeed for Ryder Dahl and Netsky, given the extra wear on those medium tires, and also they're on the slower pace tire compared to everybody else. And you've got some fast drivers, for example, Josh too, who's currently in 11th and looking to be at least on pace for now to go much faster on this lap if he can keep it valid. Gets through the last danger zone, I would say. Runs out of ERS coming around the final corner here, so that might be a little bit of a time loss, but I don't think it mattered all that much as he sets a 108.4, and he goes third fastest here, and that knocks Netsky right on the bubble. Knight is out of qualifying. Jeroen Visser is out of qualifying. Andin coming around the final corner now. He's in 14th. Let's see, is he going to be able to make it through into Q2 as he crosses the line? He goes into P10, knocks Netsky out, so Andin is safe. But for how long now, as VR looks to be on a flying lap. Always Rick is also on a flying lap right now, and so is Netsky, as I saw some yellow flags. Netsky
is out.
He's out of qualifying, diving into the pits. And
also, Ryder Dahl.
Let's see, I mean, Ryder Dahl finished his lap, but he's going to be, at least for now, making it through. Now, it's all going to come down. No, it won't matter. VR's invalidated, and Netsky's diving into the pits. So both racing points, albeit cutting it very close now, will be making it through. Ryder Dahl, though, did unfortunately have to set an extra lap on those medium tires, add a little bit of extra wear to them, so possibly a disadvantage. But if he can pull off a possible solid qualifying in Q3, he might it might not matter so much. For example, if he gets pole, runs away with it, and can kind of start worrying a little bit more about tire wear. But we'll get the answer to that sooner rather than later as Q2 has come to a close. Izat Kush heading the timing tables with his 108.279. Ferg in second, Josh 2 rounding out the top three. All separated by about a tenth of a second. Wouter, Sweetcar 19 in fourth. Jamie in rounding out the top five with Eklund, Feral Fury, Sophion, Ryder Dahl, and Andin also taking part in the top 10 shootout of Q3. Netsky just missing out on the cut. VR46, Jarno, Knight, Jeroen Visser, and Always Rick, the four other drivers who will also not make it through. They will be starting in positions 11 through 15th, but will get free choice of tires when we do jump into the race. But before then, we've got Q3 to go to, the top 10 shootout, one of the most exciting spectacles of motorsport, and it is here today to bless us with all its glory, I guess I could say. 10 drivers take to the track, 12 minutes, the tire wear doesn't matter, all that matters is the time on the board at the end of the session. Who is going to take pole position? We will find out very shortly here, as it looks to be a Williams who is going to hit the track first, and that is, I believe, Josh 2. Or no, that wasn't a Williams, that was Izat Kush doing what he's been doing through the entirety of qualifying so far, getting on track early, using that clean air to his advantage, and setting blistering fast lap times, and we'll see if that'll continue here for qualifying 3, as unsurprisingly he is out on the soft tires to lead the charge for Q3, with Sweetcar 19 a little bit further behind. Right behind, maybe looking to use some of that slipstream to his advantage down the start-finish straight. But as much as... Sorry, go on ahead.
No, because I'm looking at the weather right now, it seems that it's going to be more cloudy, and maybe there's a chance of rain at the end of the session. Don't know. But I see a lot of clouds now. Yeah,
it's looking to be a little bit cloudy. I'm not I'm not gonna go as far as to say rain just yet, although as much as we in the commentaries booth do not have much of any indication for the weather here. But it's looking to be a little bit of a lightly clouded, still lots of sun here on the circuit, as you can see, as Izzat is coming through turn 1. So I would expect to see probably sunny skies, or maybe sunny and lightly cloudy for qualifying 3. But of course, the race could be a completely different animal. But given that a lot of drivers tended to lean towards trying to make it through on those medium tires, it does lead me to assume possibly at least a dry start of the race. Just given that with the if we were going to see a wet start to the race, I would have thought everybody just would have set a lap on the soft tires and left it at that.
So right now we're seeing both racing points are giving a tow to each other. In fact, I think it was the start that had a lot, and then, in fact, right now he's going fastest also with the purple sector. Right now, the advantage for this guy from Racing Point is because of the tow that he had before, that Ryerdal gave him. But definitely right now we're seeing also a good lap by Isaac Kush, who goes 1.8.143. So we thought that Netsky could prove that to do it around 1.7, but Netsky is out because of a wrong strategy by him.
Yeah, wrong strategy call, looking to set those medium tires, and that did cost him a qualifying 3 appearance. So the question really begs to be asked here in Q3: who can keep pace with Izzat Kush, who, I'll be honest, he's shown a lot of pace through the entirety of Season 4, as I might have mentioned time and time again. But here around Zandvoort, it seems like he's bumped that up to another level here. He's just been absolutely flying around here, just setting faster and faster times through qualifying, and really he's been near perfect. Yeah, he's set essentially one time, and that's been the time that's more or less headed the timing tables for a better part of all qualifying here. But we'll have to see how this all plays out. Q3 is a completely different animal in itself, and Ryder Dahl is actually on a lap right now, and he's gone purple in the second sector. He went purple in sector 1. Now we'll see if it's a personal best or if it is a legitimate purple sector time here, as with a few corners to go on the soft tires. Let's see what Ryder Dahl can do here in the Racing Point. Can he outqualify his teammate? Yes, he can, but does not outqualify the AlphaTauri of Izzat Kush. It's a 108.349 for Ryder Dahl, as he does bring that Racing Point up to P2, but it is not that coveted pole position here. But still 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session, as Jamian is coming around now the penultimate corner, looking to set his first lap time as the final runner of the first round of lap times here in Q3, and it's 8th fastest for Jamian. It's a 108.9, so the entirety of the top 9 at least who have a time set, all separated by less than a second, and I do expect this gap to get closer and closer as we start seeing quicker times here near the end of this qualifying session.
We also need to take a look at the standings right now, as I see that Izzat Kush is only 10 points behind Chapelele. So in fact right now Izzat Kush can take advantage from this race to overtake Chapelele from this division, because also we need to mention that the winner takes 40 points. So Chapelele right now it's 283, Izzat Kush is at 273, and Josh 2 is on 238. Sweet Crown 19, who is not participating today, I think.
Yes, he is. He's So Sweet Crown 19, he's got a little bit of a name change. He's now Ariel Wouter in the Williams.
All right. So Ariel Wouter, right now he's running in 3rd position. He's qualifying, but he's on 4th position in the grid right now of the standings. and definitely it's going to be also a challenge between Ekeland and Jerome Visser, and together with Ferg, because they're all close in the points, and even Farrell Furry because he's only 10 points behind him. So right now, is it going to be a win for Izzet Kosh? Because I'm seeing that this guy is not under pressure at all, and he's doing these fantastic laps. No one can really improve the time that he did. So we're gonna see if they manage to at least come at least 1 tenth behind him, because right now there's a big gap of around 2 tenths.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye out on that, and this is where the times are going to be at its quickest for when we're here at the end of qualifying. So we'll see if anybody can close that gap up. But of course, Izzet Kush not going to be giving that up without a fight. He's going to be looking to go much faster here, and I do think still on that discussion of possibly breaking into the 107s. Izzet Kush might just be the driver to do it. He's been getting closer and closer as qualifying has played out. But Ferg was on an absolute flyer of a lap as we were watching him go around Zandvoort. And he sets a 108.246. So, Ephraim, I think Ferg might have just given you your wish there, as he does bring that gap to right around exactly 1/10 of a second.
Around, yes. Not a 1/10, but around the 1/10. Yes.
Not quite.
Right now, I'm realizing that the commentator's curse is really working on Ferg, because they were doing a lot of mistakes when we said that they do the mistakes, and now I wanted 1/10 from Izzet Kush, and he's doing it.
Yep, it looks like you've got the good side of the commentator's curse. I myself definitely do not have that good side, as I might have already been a slight cause of Netsky missing out on Q3 after calling him out, expecting him to break into the 107s. But of course not here in Q3. But Wouter, Sweaker on 19, was about to start a lap here, but very quickly diving back into the pits, as some of these drivers love to do here in Q3. I think looking to just be out on track at the last possible moment when the track is going to be at its quickest. Josh, too, pulling the same move. And crucially, both AlphaTauris are coming out one behind another here for what I can only assume is going to be their final laps. So Izzet Kush is leading the way of the two AlphaTauris. And I do think that he might try to give a little bit of support for his teammate Sophion. Maybe give him a little bit of tow down the start-finish straight, down the straight of Sector 2, and try to bring his teammate up the timing tables from where he is in P6. But we'll have to see if Izzet Kush is going to try to improve on his time. I know sometimes drivers like to be comfortable with where they stand. But with Ferg showing a lot of pace and a lot of drivers who are going to be out looking to set those fastest times, I do think we'll probably see Izzet Kush go around, look to set one more fast time here before the end of qualifying. And here we go. Let's actually ride on board with Izzet Kush as he's leading the way here.
Can I give you a second?
Please.
Josh too had a little bit of traffic in the pits because there was the other guy in front of him, but he's still on time. He's still on time to do it, and even if I'm seeing correctly, Jamie 1 is out of track, is out of the pits as well. The only guys that we're seeing still in the pits are no, actually I think everyone is in the, everyone went out. Yes, even Anden I think was the last guy that he now needs to go at a little bit of pace in this outlap, because else he will not manage to do this lap.
Yeah, so everybody does get out on time, and apologies just for the oh no, I was riding on board with Izzet Kush, who unfortunately invalidates his lap time here. So we'll have, should be able to go around and set one last lap now that he's got a little bit of clean air. Has to let some other drivers on their flying laps through. But Sophion now leading the way, but that was maybe a bit of a costly mistake for Izzet Kush, as he's going to have to go around and set one last lap on slightly more worn soft tires. So Fionn crosses the line. He goes slower, but I think now is going to be his truer lap time, as we're down to 40 seconds to go, and everybody is either out on a flying lap or just completing their out lap to start their own flying lap now here. Izat Kush, provisional pole, but with 30 seconds to go, who is going to take pole position? Now I'm seeing Feral Fury going a little bit slow as he's looking to start his flying lap, and I think that's Ryder Dahl maybe looking to come around, start his flying lap as well. But let's see here, crosses the line, goes, well, he went 5 seconds slower that time around, so I think he's really going to be pushing that one last lap. Feral Fury, on the other hand, it might have been a bit of a costly mistake for him, as he dives into the pits, and that's his qualifying over. And the best he'll be able to do is P9, but with everybody going around setting their final laps, that might be subject to change. Ferg crosses the line. He goes slower, so he will remain in P2 for the time being. Sweet Crown 19, Wouter, he invalidated, so he's out of qualifying. That's the end of his lap. Now that was, I believe, that was Sophion setting a 108.628, staying in 7th. Josh 2 goes up to second fastest. It's a 2.25 for Josh 2. Izat Kush won't improve because that's an invalidation from him. Let's stick with Ryder Dahl. Right, coming near the end of his ERS now. Let's see if he can make it to the end. It won't matter though, as that's an invalidation for Ryder Dahl as well, as he comes around the penultimate corner here. Eklund diving into the pits, so there you go. That is the end of qualifying 3, and it is going to be Izat Kush starting on pole position, but it's a Williams who's going to be starting in P2, but maybe not the one you're expecting, as it's Josh 2 on your screen, who qualifies second fastest, will be getting that front row of the grid start alongside Izat Kush. Row 2 occupied by the Ferrari of Ferg and the Racing Point of Ryder Dahl. Sweet Crown 19 and Eklund come in 5th and 6th. Will be taking row 3. Row 4 will be the AlphaTauri of Sophion and the Racing Point of Andin. And it'll be Feral Fury and Jamian who take row 5, qualifying in 9th and 10th after qualifying 3. But what a qualifying that was. But don't go anywhere, because we have the race coming in just a few moments now.
I think we had a very good qualifying. We saw that most of the drivers, they failed from the last attempt. I think also if the other drivers, such as Andre and Ray, I forgot the name of the other Racing Point, sorry. But yes, I think they were really close to Josh to time lap, and it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to react in the first corner, because in the first corner you don't win the race, but definitely you need to get a little bit of positions, so you will be a little bit faster. And also, what is Chapelele going to do at the back of the grid?
Yep, had a lot of time to Chapelele to consider his strategy and figure out at least what he wants to start on, how he wants to approach turn 1, because he is definitely going to have his work cut out for him here after serving his qualifying ban, starting from the back of the order for the race. Now, of course, the drivers are taking a moment, getting into the race mindset, getting that breather, figuring out that strategy here and how they want to go about it on what looks to be a very cloudy session for race day here. So, Ephraim, you were talking about weather, I believe, right around start of Q3, end of Q2. I didn't quite believe you all that much for qualifying, but looking at the conditions here for the race, I mean, maybe we see some rain here before the end of the session, just given the cloudy conditions. What do you think? Do you want to see a wet race here, or do you want to have it stick to the dries and let the drivers push on the dry tires as much as they can?
Those who knows me, they know me well. They know that I love a wet race. I don't love racing in the wet, but my only win that I ever got in ISRL was a wet race. So definitely, I think that I would like to see some wet going on, and even some strategies going different. You know, by the drivers who's going to be the first driver to switch on to those tires. But maybe we see a little bit of a mix-up in the weather. First we have rain, then we have some. I think the lobby got stuck.
No, I think we're good to go. We are counting down now to
All right,
about.
okay, we're counting down. Okay.
Yeah.
But as I was saying, I think we're gonna start in a dry race. Then it's going to be a little bit of rain, and then we're going to end up in the dry as well. So from the last prediction that we had, that we will touch the 1.7s, we didn't have any 1.7s. So let's at least get this prediction right as well.
Yep, 0 for 1 with predictions so far, but hopefully we can get the one with the weather right, and you can see very cloudy skies here with that panning shot of turn 1 as Izat Kush leads us through the formation lap, starting on pole in that AlphaTauri. And top 3, Izat Kush, Josh 2, Ferg, all on the soft tires. The only one of the top 10 who is on the medium tires is Ryder Dahl, who still found himself in a nice little P4 to start the grid order, but he is going to have to be on it with some very fast drivers behind him. Wouter, Eklund, Sofian, even his teammate Andon down in 8th. Lots of very, very fast drivers that are probably just going to be willing to eat him alive here if he's not careful off the restart. But Feral Fury, Jamie, and rounding out the top 10 on those softs. Netsky, he's on poor man's pole position, qualifying in 11th, and he is absolutely committing to those medium tires to start the race. Not making it through into the top 10, but putting on a set of medium tires regardless, as he is in 11th. VR and Knight in 12th and 13th on the softs. Jeroen Visser, always Rick, in 14th and 15th on the mediums. Diemorts, he's in the McLaren, and he is the only driver who opted for the hard tires here, with Chapelelli rounding out the back of the order on the medium tires. But a bold strategy call from Diemorts, looking to go much longer than the rest of the field on those hard tires, and maybe try that reverse strategy, hard to softs rather than the soft to hards. But we'll have to see how that'll play out for Diemorts as this race plays along. But the drivers are lining up on the grid. Ephraim, any final remarks before we get to the 5 red lights and the start of the race?
Try not to give us a safety car in the first corner of this lap, but definitely good luck to all these drivers. As long as you do a clean lap, I will be happy.
There we go. No safety cars to start the race. And speaking of, we are going to be kicking things off. 36 laps around Zandvoort. Up to 4 lights. 5 red lights. They're off and we are racing, and it looks to be a good start from Izat Kush as he heads down to turn 1, and Ferg getting a very good start, challenging for P2 very early on here, as it looks as though everybody making it through relatively clean. Diemort struggling for heat as he is down near the back, but approaching the first banking corner. The 2 racing points are side by side. Ryder Dahl not having the start he was hoping for, down in what is showing P10th now, and behind his teammate of Andon. So Ryder Dahl really struggling on those medium tires here early on. Netsky trying in 12th, looking to try to get an overtake on Jamie, going through in the early stages, as I think just now the timing tables are starting to get sorted out here, as it's still Izat Kush leading the way, and Ferg getting a nice jump up into P2, heading down the DRS straight as he got past the Williams of Josh too. But currently Andon now going side by side with Sofian. Andon going up into 6th. Sofian holding on to that position for dear life, though, as they're still going side by side. You can see other battles happening here as Netsky and Jamie going alongside. Jamie having to go into the gravel as he goes down to 12th. VR up into 11th now, and that was Jeroen Visser nearly losing it on the exit here as he is trying to get past Knight. Knight trying to get ahead of Chapelelli. Chapelelli, a little bit of contact there with Jamie, and it looked like, and nearly gets Knight involved too with that incident. Solid awareness from all the drivers there to not make things worse, as Chapelelli was able to save that car. Up into 13th now as he's trying to work his way up the grid order, but definitely not making it easy here for him, as it looks like here was their overtakes for the lead. No, it's still Izat Kush leading the way. It's just our timing tables finally getting sorted out here on lap 2. So a very clean lap, first lap and a bit from the drivers here, not getting involved into incidents. but it's still Isaac Kush leading the way. Fergan second, Josh 2 in third, and Chapelelli elsewhere in 13th, still putting pressure on Jamie but was not able to get past up into 12th here in these early stages.
As you can see, that Chapelelli right now is on medium tire. He's going to try to overtake the guys with soft tires, but it's going to be a little difficult for him because in the straights, as you see, he needs to use a little bit of ERS to get an advantage. But as you can see, also the track position is key over here because you will get a little bit of traffic against a driver who is not the fastest, but he uses a lot of ERS at the beginning of the race. Right now, Chapelelli is not most beautiful. Let's say.
Oh my goodness, okay. Apologies. Here comes Netsky going side by side with Feral Fury through the end of Sector 1. My oh my, what a move from Netsky there, as that was not really a place you see too many overtakes happen. But Netsky saw the opportunity, saw the door open, made no mistake, and props to both drivers there for keeping it clean. But it is Netsky up into 9th, Feral Fury down into 10th now, as Netsky just sees that window open through the very tricky S section of Sector 1 and makes no mistake getting that overtake done. And oh no, that was VR going way off, having a moment there, and that sent Jamie in. And who is that? That's your own Visser facing the wrong way, as we just saw him come on screen there. Now, we saw a little bit what happened to VR, but Ephraim, did you see what happened to your own Visser? I think, just gauging from your reaction, I think you might have caught a little bit more than we did there.
Yes, in fact, I think I saw Jarno, that he went into the grass and he really collided into the wall, but I think your own Visser, he hit someone, I don't know who, but as you can see, there's not a lot of damage on his car. I don't know if it glitched, but there's not a lot of damage.
Let's take a look. Your own Visser.
You see well.
No, there's there's no damage on that car.
Damage, and he hit it directly into the wall, so he's lucky. Very lucky.
Oh yeah, extremely lucky indeed. And I mean, when I saw him on stream, your own Visser, it looked like he was facing the wrong way. So the only thing I can think of possibly is that he might have benefited from the car maybe going for a spin. And Ephraim, as you might be aware, when that rear end of the car can hit a brick wall in this game, and absolutely nothing is going to happen. You might actually gain a little bit of performance when that rear diffuser bumps into the rear end or bumps into the wall, and that might have been what saved your own Visser, possibly just hitting the colliding with the wall just in the right angle to not cause any damage whatsoever. So thankfully just a time loss as he's not pitting. VR46 Jarno, though, on the other hand, he did need to take a pit stop. He's putting on a set of medium tires, and now he's going to have to commit to a two-stop strategy to the end of this race.
I think also we really need to talk about Chapelelli gaining a lot of positions, 7 positions already. Now we have Netsky to take on. It's going to be also a challenge for Netsky because he needs to overtake Ryder. But the current situation right now is that we have Netsky on the mediums, we have also Chapelelli on the mediums, and Ryder is on the softs. So if the guys in front of him pits, definitely Chapelelli needs to show us his pace and try to get those 3 laps in advantage before he goes on the hard and matches the pace of the softs on 12 lap tire wear.
Yeah, and crucially though, when I'm looking here, all Redderdal, Netsky, and Chapelelli are on the medium tires from my tire graph here, but it looks as though Netsky...
Yes, because Redderdal, he qualified on the medium tires, so yes, Redderdal, he have a little bit of a disadvantage compared to those 2 guys behind him, because Netsky started on the medium, but I don't think that he used them in the qualifying, or else he used only 1 lap, and Chapelelli, he doesn't use them in the qualifying.
No, but crucially though, it looks as though, at least through, from what I saw through turn 1, it looked as though Netsky was struggling for grip a little bit, struggling for pace on those on those medium tires. But looking a little bit more at this battle, it looks as though everybody's just kind of stuck behind Sylphion, who's doing such a good job of holding this pack up, which is allowing Schiaparelli maybe to get a little bit more involved than what he might have been hoping here, as Ryderdahl and Netsky are both stuck behind behind Sylphion and just can't seem to get the exits they need, find the traction on those medium tires to get ahead of the AlphaTauri that's ahead of them here. They get close, but just not close enough to warrant making a lunge down the inside. But we'll see here on lap 7 if this is going to change. We're seeing Ryderdahl on your screen getting very close to Sylphion now, but through Sector 1, not much of an overtaking zone. Normally it's at the after all of this section of track here, once you hit the DRS zone, that you'll see most of the overtakes. But you're seeing these 4 cars so close together on circuit here, just all trying to get the advantage on one another. But other than Sylphion, everybody's getting DRS on everyone, so it's just really relying on racing line. And you see how close they're all getting after DRS, but just not able to close up enough to get the overtake done. So we're almost stuck in a little bit of a train here. We'll see if anybody can do anything about it here, as they're gonna start lap 8. Here comes oh, that was Schiaparelli.
Doesn't have any ERS. So right now the situation is that Ryderdahl have around 80%. He's not using any. Netsky he have around 40%, and Chopin around 60%. So right now it's an advantage with Ryderdahl, and there's not a lot of gap. Only 6 seconds between the leader and Ryderdahl. It's very close. I never seen a race this close in my life.
Oh yeah, but Schiaparelli, though, he is starting to get a little bit, he's getting a little bit impatient, trying to force some moves around the outside. You saw that there, trying to, earlier, trying to get the overtaker on the outside of turn 1. That didn't work out. And then after the first banking corner, through the, I guess the straight, that's more of an S section there, absolutely tries to send it around the outside, but didn't quite work out either. But now through all of this pack being led by Sylphion actually caught up to the likes of Eklund and Andin. So essentially now from 5th place all the way down to 10th, it's just one string of cars just chasing one another here. Now being led by Andin, who's up in 5th, being pressured by Eklund, who's being pressured by or it was Sylphion, but now Ryderdahl finally getting ahead as he can now start charging. Sylphion down in 8th, as now let's see Netsky, who's right behind, might be trying to make a move, but you can see Schiaparelli really trying here, but Netsky going side by side with Sylphion through this section that we saw Schiaparelli do 1 lap ago. He makes it work here, as we've seen this overtake work time and time again, as now Sylphion, just like that, finds himself in 9th and going to have to defend Schiaparelli, who's right behind. But Netsky and Ryderdahl, they can get a move on, as now Ryderdahl finds himself in a Renault sandwich with Eklund ahead and Netsky right behind. So Ryderdahl's going to have to be cautious here, going to have to bide his time, because he does not want to find himself behind both of these Renault drivers. That could make his job that much more difficult. I did see a yellow flag. That might have been your own Vasseur a little bit further behind, having a moment there. But we're starting to see drivers taking their first pit stops here, getting off of the soft tires. And Schiaparelli is taking a very early pit stop off of the medium tires, interestingly enough. So he is, Schiaparelli putting on, he's going mediums to hard tires, but looking to take those hard tires very long. Maybe saw there was this gap in clean air that he could take. And now what's going on here, as that was Eklund slowing right down, hitting the grass, as both Ryderdahl and Netsky get past. So Ryderdahl now has his teammate ahead of him for a little bit of support, as the roles are reversed, as now Netsky stuck behind both racing points. And we've got a yellow flag. What happened here? That's your own Vasseur going slowly in the banking, not having a moment to remember. I think he lost the back end, and that's wing damage for the Haas of your own Vasseur. So that is going to be a long way around the circuit before he can get that wing change, and a lot of time lost. But now the leader's taking their pit stop. But Wouter, Sweet Crown 19, he's staying out for at least one more lap as he takes the lead of this race.
Without any ERS for Wouter, this is also tricky for him because he can at least try to manage that pace. We're seeing right now Sector 1, let's see what time he will do, but if it's not matching the same pace that he had before, he's gonna lose a lot of positions over here in this race. So I don't know why Chapelele pit so early because he was on medium tires. Maybe he didn't feel that he's on the correct tires at the moment, but as you can see, we're not gonna have any rain because the weather cleared up. So these guys, they know that they're gonna have only one pit stop if nothing happens, and there's no damage to those cars. But let's see who gains a little bit also in the pits. Definitely Ferry gets up to 5th position from 10th, and also Netsky right now is running 3rd from 11th position, so it's a very good position for him as well. Right now we're gonna see Sweet Crown 19 getting into the pits, and let's see which position he will rejoin the track.
Let's see, so we've got Ferga on your screen right now in the Ferrari. To give an idea, it looks as though the leaders are going to get ahead of that Izzat Kush, Ferg, Josh, to the net quote-unquote leaders of the race. Now here comes Wouter out, right next to Demorts, who's on 11-lap-old hard tires, so a little bit of a different strategy race for both of these drivers here. But Wouter out in 8th now, right behind his teammates, so nothing really gained, nothing really lost after those pit stops for the, I guess, the net leaders of the race who are looking to go to the end of the race, as it is Izzat still in 5th, Ferg in 6th, Josh in 7th, and Wouter in 8th, but going to have a little bit of a gap to close before he can see his teammate. Now, through all of that, Ron Vasseur, he, after having that moment, he decided enough is enough. He is out of this race. So we are down to 16 runners here on lap 12. And Ryder Dahl is leading the way, Netsky in 2nd. So these two drivers on the medium tires looking to go a little bit longer. Eklund is staying out on the soft tires, and so is Knight for that matter. But Knight is going to have to watch out as he is very quickly now under pressure from the likes of Izzat Kush and Ferg and this net lead pack, who is trying to work their way back up the order. Let's see how Knight can handle this here, as I would not be surprised to see the Red Bull maybe take a pit stop at the end of this lap, or maximum at the end of next lap. But you can see how close Izzat Kush is. He wants to get past the Red Bull, but Knight not giving anything up without a fight here. Even if it's 4P4, even if they're on different strategies, he wants to hold on to that position. He wants to play a little bit of spoiler here for these the net lead runners, which is going to be paying a little bit of a favor to Sweet Crown. Possibly.
Because right now, if Izzat Kush makes a wrong move, Ferg will take it. In fact, Ferg is really close to Izzat Kush, and as you can see right now, we're seeing that these drive for the pit yet, but let's not forget that these drivers all started with the medium tires. Only I think Knight started with the
Knight
soft
and Eklund,
tires.
I think, were the two that started on the softs, going much
Now,
longer.
There's a little bit of a moment also for Knight, as the Ferrari and AlphaTauri, they overtook him, and a very good fastest lap with those hard tires for Chapelele, getting already with 1:11.5.
Yeah, so Chapelele's flying on those hard tires, so I think he might have had some data that we didn't have here in the commentaries booth, because it looks like a little bit of a change of pace here for him, as we've got another yellow flag, and let's see what happened here. Is that Chapelele maybe going a little bit slowly? He's got some end plate damage on that Alfa Romeo, so right after sending a fastest lap here, immediately takes a little bit of wing damage on the exit, so possibly a very quick commentary's curse from me here, as just as I was complimenting him on the pace with the hards. He's once again going to have his work cut out for him, as that is definitely going to be a costly loss of downforce. But back to this battle here, Knight is still staying out on those tires for what is now 14 laps on those softs. Does get overtaken from Josh too. And I'm not too sure what the strategy is, if he's trying to go long on those mediums, but Knight really going the distance on these soft tires as much as he can. Maybe possibly hoping for a safety car as well. Schiaparelli taking a pit stop, as he is very quickly going to get off of those hard tires, put on a fresh set of medium tires, and start the push back again here. But interestingly enough too, Eklund, he's still out on those soft tires, but he has created a little bit more of a gap compared to Knight, who's already been overtaken by the net top 4. Netsky and Ryder Dahl, meanwhile, have kind of just run away 1 and 2, but they both will still need to take a pit stop. But I think maybe the battling has taken a bit of a breather now here. Maybe going to try to work with each other to try to build this gap, so they're not going to lose out on nearly as much when they do take their pit stop off the mediums and put on that fresh set of tires.
It's time for Eklund to pit as well. Eklund will take the tires.
Yes, Eklund put on the mediums, and Knight pit as well, and he's putting on the mediums.
20 laps. I think they will manage to do 20 laps with those tires, but definitely to be in the same pace of the hards, because mediums, as you reach around 16 laps, you will start dropping the pace. But Zandvoort is tricky as well, because sometimes they say that in Zandvoort, if you do 30 laps on the hards, you will manage. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation for these two to do this type of strategy. But also it's going to help you in the timings, because as you can see right now, Eklund is not so far off Sofian and Anden, so he will try to go far with those tires and reach at least these cars that they are in front of him. And also in the straights, he's going to be faster.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing, and they've got a little bit of clean air to work with, do Knight and Eklund here after this pit stop, so they can afford to push a little bit here without worrying about the dirty air affecting the tires all that much. But once they do catch up to that pack ahead, they are going to have to really make sure that they can go quickly from the overtake. As oh no, that's VR46 Jarno out of this race, as looks like he had a moment through the final corner. We've got a yellow flag. It's a virtual safety car here. There is that Ferrari. It looked as though he essentially clipped the wall going into the banking.
Second time that this happened to this guy. Jarno in the same corner exactly. I think he doesn't like that corner.
Yeah, definitely not one of his favorite corners here, and if it was, I don't think it's going to stay that way here after this showing, as earlier on got caught up into an incident around the final corner, and now here that final corner seems like it just came back to try to complete the job. VR46 Jarno in the Ferrari, the second victim here. We are down to 15 runners, so everybody who finishes the race gets a point now, but we still have many laps to go. We are only halfway done this race. We have only hit the 50% mark of the race here. Now Ferg is trying to make an overtake around the outside of Izat Kush once we head back to Green Flag Racing, and he does get the overtake done. So Ferg finds himself now in P3. Izat Kush down in P4 right now, as Josh 2 still lurking in 5th. The top two of Netsky and Ryder Dahl, they have both still continuing onwards, business as usual. Netsky now leading, Ryder Dahl down in 2nd, but they have a nearly a 6-second gap to 3rd, which is now occupied by Ferg. And I do think maybe Izat Kush might be looking to to take that position right back sooner rather than later. He is going to want that top step of the podium, and he is going to try to take it away from Ferg, but I do think maybe a little bit of a chess game might be played now. Isaac Kush might be just looking to keep up with Ferg, maybe not try to overtake too early, just conserve some of those tires just a tiny little bit, conserve some ERS, not only maybe get a little bit more in the tank before trying to really make that push and snag that, well, what is P3, but could be a net P1 after pit stops a little bit later here in this race. But it is Netsky leading the way on lap 19. He and Ryder Dahl are still keeping up with one another as Eklund goes fastest here in the race so far. He sets the fastest lap on that fresh set of medium tires. So he is definitely feeling those mediums and close that gap up nearly a second now behind Sophion before he can try to overtake for P9.
So we need to mention that we never seen from any division taking it far from medium going to softs. Are these drivers going to do it? Because as I can see, they're on the medium tires right now, and I think they're going to switch to the soft tires, so definitely this is going to be interesting for Ryder Dahl and Netsky. Don't forget that they have a DRS advantage on each other, so basically, yes, this is going to be a tricky situation for these two. If the soft pace then is going to at least get them close to Ferg, Isaac Bush, and also Josh too, because these drivers are around 6 seconds away from them, and they're still matching the same pace of that hard tire that they have right now. So they're going to be so fast with those soft tires, but only the last 14 laps count.
And that's the thing, and if they want to do a medium to soft, I mean, now that you're mentioning it, it looks like they've essentially committed to this strategy, taking these mediums nearly 20 laps now, as, we've got another yellow flag here, and that is Schiaparelli's race going from bad to worse. Another pit stop, and I think that might be all she wrote for Schiaparelli as he very frustratingly dives into the pits, and there you go. That is the end of Schiaparelli's race here, so a very disappointing P15 for the leader in the Drivers' Championship, but this does open the door to the likes of Izat Kush and Josh too to maybe make a push and try to pass Schiaparelli in the Drivers' standings. I think it was Izat Kush who was only 10 points behind, and currently running in P4. Now Ryder Dahl and Netsky both take a pit stop, and they are looking to go 15 laps on those soft tires, and that is going to be a very tall order to ask, I think. You could see the likes of both Eklund and Knight absolutely struggling on those soft tires, as they brought them right around 13 to 14 laps, and now we're expecting them to go 15 laps here. But they might be able to do it. Already Netsky getting a very quick start, going side by side with Demorts on the exit of the pits, and very quickly goes up into P6. Ryder Dahl a little bit further behind as he took a little bit of a longer pit stop there, it seemed. Still behind Demorts, but I do think he's going to get this overtake done sooner rather than later, as Demorts is on 20-lap-old hard tires. He's looking to go on those softs as well, but maybe in just a few laps time from now, I think. As now Ryder Dahl very quickly gets past Demorts, and meanwhile Netsky has already caught up to Andin and looking to try to get past Andin to go up into P5, and I would not be surprised to see him do it with the help of DRS down the straight. He is flying on those soft tires here, and there you go, up into P5 goes Netsky as he gets ahead of Andin, and now has 4-second gap to close before he can see the true battlers, Wouter, and then Josh 2, Isaac Kush, and Ferg. Ferg, who is now leading the Grand Prix here on lap 22 for the Ferrari team, but Isaac Kush right behind, putting a lot of pressure here, and this is gonna come down to the wire, I think, as, who is that? That is always Rick, having a bit of a spin here, not having the debut he was hoping for here in Division 1, as he finds himself in 14th.
Netsky is on the fastest lap try right now. He did already the first sector as the fastest. But also we need to mention that Netsky right now is only 7.5 seconds away from the leader. So if he continues with this pace, definitely it will be around lap 28 where we're gonna see him reaching out to Sweet Crown 19, and he could take the win as well. If there's a safety car, Netsky's in the chance of the win as well, because the other guys need to bid for soft and he doesn't need to bid. So yeah, right now we just confirmed that Netsky takes the fastest lap out of, if I'm not mistaken, it was I think Isat Kush who took the fastest lap before.
So, I believe it was either he or Eklund, because I know Eklund set a fastest lap on those mediums.
Eklund on mediums, yes, Eklund on mediums. So right now, as you can see, the pace for the hard tires as ISRL, Wouter, which is known as Sweet Crown 19, Josh 2, Isat Kush, and Ferg, they're dropping the pace on those hard tires. And as you can see, Netsky is already 1 second faster from the previous lap, and he's in a good chance to definitely be on the podium. And also Ryder Dahl and Anden, they're also fighting for the best position of points as well. In fact, I think these drivers, they didn't join in the beginning of the season. They joined late in the season for Division 1, yes?
So Anden was here since the beginning of the season, but both Netsky and Ryder Dahl did join in a little bit later here for Division 1, but their pace, from what they've shown here week in, week out, show that they're definitely in the right spot, if I'm going to be honest. And here trying to pull off this near impossible mediums to soft one stop. Now, I do want to say, I do completely agree, the pace that Netsky is showing here already, the gap 1.2 seconds before Sweet Crown 19. I mean, of course, he can catch up, he can overtake, but these soft tires are going to wear out much quicker than these hard tires, and we still have 12 laps to go in this Grand Prix. So even if Netsky can catch up, maybe overtake, shoot for a podium, and even if I go grandiose, shoot for a victory here. If I'm going to be honest here, and I mean, you might have a differing opinion, Ephron, but I don't think these soft tires are going to hold off enough compared to the hard tires in terms of pace, in terms of grip. Once it matters, come around, let's say lap 24, or I mean, sorry, lap 33, 34, let's say 35. Here, given the amount of pushing that both Netsky and Ryder Dahl have had to do, and even though now this is where he's getting close to Sweet Crown, but Sweet Crown not an easy customer to overtake either. He's not just going to give by the position, so there's going to be some battling involved here, I think, for these overtakes too, which might not help the tire wear either.
I think also from my previous experience in driving in this track, I think I did around 14 laps with those soft tires and I got around 80%. But it's a tricky situation as well. As you can see, Netsky right now, he's a little bit in the dirty air of Sweet Crown 19. Ryder Dahl and Anden now, they're also catching up with Netsky. Netsky needs to definitely in this straight with the DRS advantage gets that position, and also it's going to be easy for him not to use any DRS if possible.
Yeah, now you can see here with the help of DRS trying to close up, going very hot into turn 1, goes Netsky here to start lap 26, but was not able to get the overtake done. But crucially, when I'm looking at the steering wheel for Netsky, he used up a lot of ERS in this early pushing stage with those soft tires, so doesn't quite have much of anything left in the tank ERS-wise to help power him past Sweet Crown to get up into 4th. So he's gonna have to rely on pure pace, and then this brings up the question of, will these soft tires have that pace when he needs them to get the overtake done here? We'll try to find out, because as you mentioned, Ryder Dahl keeping his distance but is catching up. He is creating a gap between himself and Anden. Anden starting to fall back a little bit in P7, as he might need to start focusing more on Eklund, who's trying to close up behind him on those 9-lap old medium tires. But once again here, coming around the final few corners, can Netsky get the run he needs on Wouter to get the overtake done? He uses a little bit of ERS. He does have DRS. He's being shown the outside line. Sweetcrown coming back into the line. There's a little bit of contact, so wheel to wheel there, but they're still side by side through turn 1. I think Sweetcrown might get the advantage, but no, Netsky is definitely still there. They're still side by side, and Netsky does get ahead, getting the inside line of the banking corner. But Sweetcrown 19, not without a fight, looking to come right back, gonna try around the outside here, but that door very much so closed. And it is going to be Netsky who finally gets the move done up into P4 on those 5-lap old soft tires, as now he can see the lapped car of Always Rick that might help with a little bit of DRS. No DRS. Sweetcrown 19. Wouter, meanwhile, now he's going to have to try to watch out for Ryder Dahl, who's caught up right behind him, and he's going to try to get the overtake done to try to keep up with Netsky as they're both continuing their trek up the field. We'll see maybe here to start lap 27 if Ryder Dahl can get the overtake done. He's got a little bit more in ERS. Sweetcrown does have some DRS to work with as well, as they're essentially matching the pace. Always Rick is going to get involved here, whether he wants to or not, very briefly, but slows down, lets the quicker drivers through. That's what you like to see. Oh, so close goes Ryder Dahl on Wouter, but Wouter holds on. He is keeping on to that P5, and he finds the traction he needs once again on the exit of the banking. Looking so good on the exit of the corners is Wouter, as Ryder Dahl is just still stuck behind the Williams. And but crucially, Netsky is only able to not able to close up nearly as much as he was probably hoping for here on Josh 2 to try to push for the podium. And speaking of this battle for the podium, it is still brewing here. Ferg in the lead,
so
but all
other.
three cars, that's the thing, all three cars on your screen, they're all battling for position. They're all battling for the podium here, as it's still anybody's victory to take. It doesn't appear as though, at least for now, knock on wood, that penalties are going to play a factor. Here comes Josh 2 now, as he gets past Izad Kush to go up into P2 of this race on those hard tires, as he's now got a run. Izad Kush maybe conserving a little bit of battery here, conserving some fuel.
Look at Netsky, he's catching up already 3.9 seconds away from them. Definitely, if he tries to catch up till lap 33, he will do it, but else he will start, I think, losing some pace in those soft tires. So right now the situation is that without any penalties, the race grid stands as it is, and the podium will be for Ferg, Josh, and Wizard Push. But Josh, look at him. How many ERS he have? He have around 50% of ERS. Ferg, he have only 20%. And for him not to be overtaken by Josh in this DRS zone, in this finish line straight, I think he's going to use much more ERS than Josh. And Josh's pace right now is the best from all of them. So right now Josh, he overtakes the Ferg with the DRS, and very well driven by this driver, Josh 2. And as you can see, he didn't use that much of ERS. And look at Netsky now. Netsky is 3.5 seconds away with all 8 laps of soft tires. The other guys are all 18 laps of hards. In fact, the only situation we had, which I wanted to comment about, is that D-Morts waited for 25 laps to switch on those, I think more, 26 laps actually, to switch on those soft tires. So I think, yeah, right now, the situation is that if we're going to have a safety car, Netsky is
right as you say it, it's a safety car.
Say it, and it happens.
Absolutely. As soon as the words were uttered from your mouth, the safety car came out for Always Rick. I can't believe it, Ephraim. What have you done?
I don't know my effect, but this happens a lot of times. Actually, today it happened around 5 times. So yeah, I think that I'm not talking anymore, and I will leave it up to you.
Ephraim with the predictions of a century here, but crucially, I'm looking at the order under safety car. Izat Kush taking a pit stop. Netski, Wouter, Ryder Dahl, they're all pitting. Josh 2 and Ferg. Controversial decision here. They're staying out on those hard tires. So I'm not too sure if they just don't have a set left, or if they opted, if they feel as if they can make it to the end of the race on those hards. But they're staying out. Andon is staying out up into the podium now. Eklund is on those 14-lap-old medium tires, so he's still out and can be maybe in one of the better positions here than everybody else, given the slightly less lap wear on those tires. But the likes of Izat Kush, Netski, Wouter, Ryder Dahl, they're going to have their work cut out for them once again, as they're going to have, what is this, maybe 3-4 laps maximum of green flag racing to go to the end of the race.
Last thing I'm going to say, okay? It's the last thing I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything, guys. The podium definitely is going to the three of them. That's what I'm going to say last. Nothing else.
What, that the podium is going to not be the three that we're seeing now?
Yes. I think that the win will go for between Netski and Izat Kush.
There you go, the bold predictions here. Izat Kush and Netski sitting in P5, P6, but on these fresh set of soft tires. The top four all decided to stay out. They are committing to their strategy. We are starting lap 32 out of 36. We are under safety car. And my goodness, this is going to be an exciting finish to the race. And once again, a late safety car here, bringing out the excitement once again here, as Demorts and Sophion, they made contact with one another under the safety car here. That's some wing damage for Sophion. Not what he was hoping for there, as down in 11th and 10th. That is going to be 5 seconds added on to their time due to that collision. Knight probably a little bit happy about that, as he is right behind those two drivers in 12th and looking to get a little bit of a jump. But Feral Fury also, I noticed, down in 9th, he's sticking with a strategy too. He decided he was not going to take a pit stop, and he's looking to take these 19-lap-old hard tires to the end of the race. So we'll have to see how that plays out for Feral Fury, as even more so his work cut out for him there, as I think he thought maybe he could jump a little bit more, as oh, what's going on to Sophion, as from bad to worse, as he finds himself last of the running cars here under safety car, as the safety car is coming in this lap, and Josh 2 becomes the de facto safety car now. And here we go. It is going to be a 3-lap sprint to the finish. Green flag on lap 33 out of 36. It's all going to be for naught here. Who is going to take victory at Zandvoort? Stay tuned and find out, because it is going to be a good one. Getting the last little bit of heat in the tires is Josh 2 and everybody else awaiting for that restart. As we approach the final corner now, more time-second penalties are being handed out here with collisions. Now we finally get back to green flag racing, and it looks as though already Netski getting a nice jump here on Izat Kush, as they're going side by side, using his teammate for support was Netski, as now Izat Kush follows right behind the Renault. A double overtake, Eklund losing out on 2 positions, might have been planned. Izat Kush trying to go down the inside, but is greeted by Andon there on the inside line. Netski, meanwhile, going around the outside of Andon. He goes up into a podium position here. Izat Kush trying to find his way past Andon, but can't seem to do it here. I think think now he finally would. No, he won't, as Andon's still sticking behind. Meanwhile, Netsky putting so much pressure on Ferg, and right now looking to go down the inside. He's got a jump and a half on those soft tires as he finds himself already up into P2 so quickly, but Ferg still coming back and battling. But it won't matter too much as Netsky hangs on to that P2 for now, and it's one car ahead of Netsky and the possible lead of the race. Ferg now in third and in fourth. Izat Kush stuck in fifth, but he might try to get an overtake done with the help of ERS down this start-finish straight. Speaking of overtake, is Netsky going to try to get a move done on Josh 2? Maybe thought about it, but Josh 2 going to be the hardest to overtake out of the three here. Izat Kush finally released from the racing point of Andon here on lap 34. Wouter now is going to try to go around the outside of Andon. Ryder Dahl right behind there too, as Wouter's stuck in a racing point sandwich. But here, looking at the lead, it's still Josh 2 leading the way. Netsky in second, Ferg in third, but now Izat Kush is in fourth on these soft tires as he is going to try to make a push, snag that podium for himself, snag those much needed points. Let's see, Sweet Crown 19, Wouter's still behind. He's going to try a lunge down the inside there. Doesn't quite work. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between he and Ryder Dahl. Ryder Dahl now loses out on a position at Eklund because of that contact. That's a Racing Point driver not happy at all after that, as goes from bad to worse as he's in the wall now. Down into 12th is Ryder Dahl, as through the span of a sector essentially things went from good to bad to worse for Ryder Dahl. But we are starting the penultimate lap. It is still Josh 2 leading the way, but this is going to be the hardest 2 laps to defend of Josh 2's life here, I think, as DRS is active. He's got Netsky on a fresh set of soft tires right ahead of him. D-Mort's getting ahead of Feral Fury as they're going side by side now. D-Mort's is solidified up into 8th. Ryder Dahl retires in the pit lane. He's had enough, so close to the end, giving up on those points. Here comes Sweet Crown 19 trying to make an overtake. Cannot get past the racing point of Andon, who is holding on to P5 for dear life here, it seems, as still Sweet Crown 19 still trying to get past to go up into a top 5. But what a drive from Andon, as Knight and Jamian are having a little bit of a battle. Knight gets up into P10, but here comes Izat Kush going down the inside of Ferg. They're going side by side. Ferg into the gravel, loses out on the position. Izat Kush back into a podium here on the penultimate lap, but all eyes are on this battle. Will Netsky be able to get the overtake done to take the lead on the final lap? Let's ride on board. He has DRS. He's using a little bit of ERS, gets the inside line, and it looks as though he does take that lead of the race on the final lap with that fresh set of soft tires. Josh 2 hanging closely behind. What's Josh 2 looking like? He's got some ERS to work with. Netsky clipping a little bit of grass that might lose out on a couple tenths of a second. But it might not matter all that much, as those tires for Josh 2 might be just hitting that cliff if he's not careful. As you can see, Netsky just hanging on to that half a second gap. And with a few sectors to go, I think for Josh 2, the focus is just get the car home in one piece, get the points. But what a race this has been here. Up until the final lap, we haven't known who is going to take the victory. And with only a few corners to go, it's looking like not the person we were expecting, or if you're somebody here else in the commentaries booth, exactly the driver you were expecting after the safety car around the penultimate, around the banking. It is Netsky who takes the victory. Josh 2 in second. Izat Kush rounding out the podium, with Ferg falling down to 4th. Wouter in 5th, Andon in 6th, Eklund coming in 7th, Feral Fury in 8th, Knight up into 9th, Jamian in 10th, D-Mort's in 11th, and Sophion, after getting caught up into that late incident, around across the line in P12 when he does cross the line. My goodness, what a race that was. Ephraim, I think I need you to take the lead for a little bit there, because I gotta go catch my breath after that.
Oh my god, well done for you, because you had a very good, some exciting as well actions to report about, and I think hats off to you because you did a very good job over there. And as I said, the win goes to Netsky, or is it Kush? Yes, it's Netsky who takes the win. Another pole prediction, but yeah, we could really do that because he was on a much faster tire and very good. I think it was a very good race for Josh too, that he managed to stay over there. He started from the second position. As we all know, is it Kush? He started in the first position. He gambled on that pit stop because he didn't do the second pit stop, but definitely that had held him a bit from the win. And in fact, we see the Renault guy taking the victory. Is it the first time that Netsky take the victory in Division 1?
That is a very good question. I do believe it might be his first victory, but I actually cannot quite remember. Definitely did it in a remarkable style here, coming from 11th on the grid up to the victory here after just missing out. But my, what a race that was, and I'm sure the Swedish crowd is going absolutely wild after that. So Netsky takes the victory, Josh 2 in second, Izat rounds out the podium, Fergan 4th, Wouter rounding out the top 5, Andon in 6th, Eklund in 7th, it is Feral Fury in 8th, Knight in 9th, and Jamian rounding out the top 10 with D-Morts in 11th, Sophion in 12th, Ryder Dahl in 13th, and then it's always Rick Chapelelli, VR46 Yarno, and your own Vasseur in what is 14th through 17th, but not finishing, not getting any points. But my goodness, what a race that was. And Ephraim, thank you for joining me here in the booth for the race. And I think now might be a good time. We can try to jump into the post-race interviews. So for those watching at home, I'll be I won't say I'll be back, but the stream will cut out in just a moment as I get these invites sent to the podium so we can get their thoughts after that very exciting Dutch Grand Prix.
How much you taking when you come third? If I'm not mistaken, it's around 28. Yes.
It's a solid question. I actually don't have the points memorized here, if I'm being honest, so apologies to that.
For the victory.
But I do think
points goes for the second, I think.
Alright, I do think it's a solid jump, but I did see Josh too, I think it was, who joined in for the post-race interview. Josh, let us know, can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. So, I mean, maybe not the end of the race you were possibly hoping for there, given where you were running, but still another solid showing in a P2 finish for you. But take us through it. What were your thoughts here after this race here at Zandvoort?
Yeah, first of all, the race was just crazy. Never thought I could finish that high up, to be honest, and yeah, I was stuck in the traffic, but I couldn't even drive any faster, so I just kept my head down, saved a lot of ERS, and yeah, before the safety car I could go first because I had a lot of ERS to use, and then unfortunately the safety car came out. That gave a lot of people the chance to get on a new set of soft, and yeah, in the end, Netsky did a good job.
Yeah, it's something I wanted to ask you there, because I did see Izat dove in, Netsky dove in with that late safety car, but you opted to stay out. Was there any reason behind that? Was that sort of a strategy call, or did you just happen to miss the pits before by the time the safety car came out?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should pit or shouldn't pit, and in the end, I thought more people would stay out, so it was more about track position, especially on this track.
Yo, Ephraim, anything to add to all that at all?
Were you under pressure in the qualifying? You left it for the last few laps that you had to take the second place.
Nah, I didn't have any pressure because I knew I was comfortable. Oh my god, comfortable with the track.
Comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And knew what I can do, but nevertheless, I saw that, or I know that some people didn't get a lap they were able to get normally, and in the end it got a lucky P2. And but I had no pressure, no.
Very good race, and well done for your...
There we go. Yep, and now I'm looking here. It does not appear as if anybody else jumped into the post-race interviews there. So I think Josh is going to be the only input we're getting here today. But I'm sure given the exciting race we had, it's more than anything going to make up for it. Oh, right as I say that, Netsky jumps in. Netsky, let us know if you can hear us at all.
Yeah.
Perfect. Loud and clear, perfect. So I'm going to start off by saying congratulations on the victory here. What a race that was for you. Talk us through it. What are your thoughts after that very exciting Dutch Grand Prix?
Oh, yeah, it was a sweaty race this weekend. Starting from P11, it was really hard. And yeah, did have to make some overtakes, and yeah, that was the race, I guess. Trying to do the opposite of everybody else, and it worked.
Now, I want to ask, were you committed to the mediums to soft, the one stop right from the get-go, or was that planned on the fly right as you were going along, found yourself in P2 and looking at where the mediums? Oh, so you committed right off the get-go?
Yeah, that was my plan the whole weekend, that I was going to the medium soft. Unfortunately, I didn't get into Q3 and qualify, so I could qualify on the softs and maybe get higher there. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely made it work. Oh, sorry.
No, go you.
I was just gonna say you definitely made it work out for you at the end. And I'm gonna ask this because it was a bit of a split decision between the drivers to pit and not pit. When that late safety car came out right close to the end, did you commit right from the get-go, I'm gonna go on the softs, or did you sort of debate that a little bit and just sort of roll with the gut?
Well, I knew that the soft that I was on was going to be on 86% or something like that, so it was really on the limits. So it was it was clear to me that I was going to pit there. Yeah.
Perfect. All right, Ephraim, anything to add to that at all?
So basically, I'm gonna ask you two questions. What was your target lap for qualifying? As we've seen in Q1, you were so fast that you did the last lap and avoided in the last few meters away from the finish line. Can you tell us what was your target lap time in those softs? Because I think you were the only guy that wanted to do the 1.7s.
Well, in practice I did 108 flat. So maybe if I will get the perfect lap, I will would have get down in the 7s. But yeah, it will be hard. I have some problems with the shifter right now, so yeah, it will be even harder right from the beginning.
Alright, the second question I have is, were you in communication with Eckland? Because I know that you were on a different strategy, but you did it well because you had a very good pit stop and you pitted first because Eckland was behind you.
Yeah, I was talking to Eki under the race, and yeah, he wanted to do another strategy just because I was going to do it, and the same at the last pit stop when I did go for the softs. He told me that he was going to stay out, so I pitted.
In fact,
yeah.
he wasn't so hard on you because he gave you the position as soon as you reached him. So well done for you, Netsky. I predicted that you will win the race, or is that Kush? And that's what happened. So I'm really happy for you. Is it your first win with ISRL?
Second. Last weekend I
Second.
won.
Oh, very good,
Go.
very good.
So 2 in a row for you.
basically, yes, 2 in a row. Let's make it 3 in a row, maybe, Netsky.
Yeah.
We'll,
No
And
oh, I was just gonna say
Wait.
because I think. What?
were your hands sweaty at all at the end of the race?
Yeah, very.
Very good.
There
very
you
good.
go. So I think we'll see 2 in a row for Netsky, and we'll see if he can make it 3 in a row. But he's got his work cut out for him, as probably 19 other drivers gunning for that win, as well as the track itself. We will be heading under the lights in Singapore, and that is not going to be one you're going to want to miss. But until then, on behalf of Ephraim, I've been Fallen Monkeys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching the Division 1 Championship. I do hope you enjoyed the race as much as we did here. And until next week when we hit under the lights of Singapore, thank you for watching and have yourselves a fantastic evening.